Welcome, ladies and gents. Chris Andre here. You can find me at BetBoxing on Twitter for boxing related tweets, or you can subscribe to the channel, click that notifications button and get a new notification whenever a new video is uploaded. I'm going to start off with some tragic news. Unfortunately, the son of Chris Eubank Sr., Sebastien Eubank, 29 years old, the brother of Chris Eubank Jr. He was a professional fighter, a 2-0 record. He was found dead in Dubai. He drowned, according to reports. His father's released a statement. I'm going to read that to you now. Chris Eubank Sr. said, "Never did I ever imagine I would write these words or experience the feeling I now have at the loss of my son. My family and I are devastated to hear of the death of Sebastien just days before what would have been his 30th birthday. He leaves his wife Salma, his son Raheem, born just a month ago, his mother Karen Meadows, brothers Nathaniel, Chris Jr., Joseph, and one sister Emily, and countless relatives and friends. Sebastien grew up in Hove, in England, but in the last few years he made his life in Dubai, where he had a wide circle of friends and was a leader in the adoption of a healthy lifestyle and of alternative therapies. As well as being a personal trainer and professional boxer, Sebastien was also a deep thinker who liked to challenge accepted wisdom. He was loved and respected by all who knew him and will be forever in the thoughts of friends and family. As a family, we now kindly ask to be given space and privacy to celebrate his life and remember the son, the brother, the husband, the friend." You know, how do you even approach talking to someone? What do you tell someone who's lost a son, a brother, in such unexpected circumstances, so prematurely? It's tragic, man. And I'm not going to lie. I'm a sentimental kind of guy. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a materialistic person. The things that I value in my life are people, ultimately. And so just the thought of this is just heartbreaking, man. What do you even say to a person like that? You know, I knew somebody very close to me who lost her brother. Her father was very close to me as well. He lost his son. This was in an accident. He was same age as Sebastien, I think. Maybe he was 30. This was a number of years ago now. And it actually happened before I knew the family, and they never ever recovered from it. You know, it's true that time can be a healer of some sort. It can blunt the edge of the sword of pain, so to speak, but it still pierces your heart, and it's something that never goes away, and you learn to deal with it, and you can put it to the back of your mind for much of your daily life. But ultimately, when it's so unexpected and so premature, you think of that person every single day. And like I said, I've seen it with others. And particularly at every single event, whether it's a religious festival, Christmas, Eid, whatever it might be you celebrate, Hanukkah, a birthday, a family dinner, where that chair used to sit the person you love and now they're no longer here. You can't even bear thinking about it, man. It's tragic. And I've seen a couple of people talk about, you know, I hope Chris Eubank Jr. uses this as motivation to go and win a world title. Listen, that's going to be the furthest thing from his mind right now, okay? In the future, you don't know how people react to it. You know, Darren Barker's someone that did use it and go on to win a world title, and he feels like he did it for his brother. Michael Katsidis is another story, though, where it doesn't really go like that. When he dropped Juan Manuel Marquez, he heard Jim Lampley at ringside say he's doing it for his brother Stathis. Bear in mind, it would have been a shock. He had him hurt. He seemed like he was turning the momentum in his way. And he says that he lost it at that point. It was almost as though he'd forgotten. He was focused so much on the fight, he'd forgotten what had recently occurred. His brother Stathis was a famous jockey in Australia, so they were a sporting family. And he died unexpectedly not long before the fight. And he says that it just completely threw him emotionally. So to some people, it can take away from your focus. You know, when you're in that one-track mind, you know, I mean, this is just terrible. You've got a kid like Raheem who's just been born a month ago. Chris Eubank Jr. is going to end up, and Joseph and the rest of the family, Nathaniel, they're going to become like fathers to that boy, without a shadow of a doubt. So their minds, their focus might move away from boxing. You know, and that's the thing furthest away in their minds right now. All I can do is, from the bottom of my heart, my thoughts and prayers go out to them. I hope they find strength and solace. May God have mercy on his soul, and may God give the rest of the family strength. That's all I can say, really, in this tragic, tragic event, 29 years old. Moving on to other topics, we'll talk about Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury has had his fight against Deontay Wilder cancelled because he had a positive... I'm going to be careful with how I word this. You guys are aware of what's occurred because every time I bring this topic up, I get fewer and fewer views. But the last time this happened, and I get fewer views, a lot of people tell me, subscribers, they don't get notifications anymore and stuff like that. So I'm going to speak in code and you guys can figure out what I'm talking about here. Well, when I did do that last video, and that's the last time that happened, it was when Bob Arum was criticising Teofimo Lopez for the cancellation of the George Kambosos fight. And he was saying, had he followed protocol, and you can go back and check out that video or go and figure out exactly what Bob said. The interview's online. I've retweeted it on my own timeline at BetBoxing. You can go and see it there. He speaks about why the blame falls on Teofimo Lopez. And I explained, had he followed those protocols, because Bob said Fury and Team Fury have followed the protocols, Deontay Wilder has followed the protocols, and his team have followed the protocols, clearly Teofimo is not responsible. And that's why this happened. And I explained to you guys, even if you follow the protocols, it wouldn't have stopped the fight being cancelled. Because what transpired would have transpired anyway. Well, if we are to believe Bob Arum and Team Fury, including Fury himself, has followed the protocols 1 and 2, not just the first one, like some people are saying, he said totally, as in fully, followed the protocols, then you will see that I was right in what I was saying. This is just science. Forget propaganda, forget all that. This is the fact of the matter. Now, there are some people out there that don't believe the official line when it comes to Tyson Fury. Some people believe that this is an excuse, that he's trying to buy time. To be honest with you, he's been so inactive for so long. I don't think it helps him. I think it hinders him. It hinders him for the fight to be further away. It's more time out of the ring. Unless, of course, certain things are happening behind the scenes that we just don't know about. Maybe Fury, who did put on a lot of weight, is looking absolutely terrible in sparring. We can't know that, right? But that's just speculation. Based on what we do know, the longer this takes to happen, the less it suits Tyson Fury. Just remember that. But let me know what you think now. What is this all about? What is going on? Do you believe the official narrative or don't you? Dillian Whyte has offered to step in immediately at 2 weeks notice, according to Eddie Hearn. Now, a lot of people are saying, Chris, come on, man. Because I said this guy's a warrior. He's a throwback. He's willing to do anything. Chris saying, come on, man. Like, you honestly believe he's going to do that? He's only saying this because basically he knows it's not going to happen. He knows that, you know, Wilder's not going to take the fight. So it's easy to appear as though you want the fight when you know that Wilder is not going to take the fight on a 2 week notice. To, you know, he's been training for a big man like Fury to suddenly come in against a different fighter stylistically. It's not something he's going to do. And yes, I understand that. I do get that. You know, I get what you're saying and it makes sense what you're saying. But by the same token, do you believe that Deontay Wilder, had he called Whyte's bluff, that Whyte would have backed out? I don't know, man. Whyte strikes me as the sort of guy, in terms of his personality, that would go ahead and take this fight. Let me know what you think about that. With regards to Anthony Joshua and his fight against Alexander Usyk, Eddie Hearn has basically said that whatever happens, the fight's happening. Whether there are crowds there or not, it's the next fight that's happening. He's reassured the people. The reason the fight's yet to be signed, he claims, is that they're unsure about the venue. Basically, they're not sure about how many people they're going to be able to get into the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and if they can't pack it out, if they can't fill it out, then they will look at other venues. So it seems to be that the issue is a venue, according to Eddie Hearn. Hopefully that's, you know, all it is, and we will get to see the fight actually take place. Obviously, it's going to be a great fight. So hopefully it gets signed as soon as possible when they get a little bit more clarity from the government about what they're allowed to do. De La Hoya has said, moving on from that De La Hoya has said that Canelo Alvarez was making more money with him rather than with Matchroom. He says, I can't get over it. It's business. Business is business. The only thing that kind of like disturbs me a bit is that we had everything teed up for him. He was making more money with us than he is now with a different promoter. It just doesn't make sense. Well, it's interesting because we know that Canelo Alvarez felt that he was left out of some, you know, details when it came to the negotiations of contracts. This is according to reports, of course. If that's the case, it would suggest that principle is more important for Canelo Alvarez than money, if what De La Hoya is saying is accurate. So that's interesting, right? That De La Hoya is saying business is business. You need to look at the money. And Canelo's thinking potentially more along the lines of, no. It's other things that matter more to me it's about conduct, it's about loyalty or whatever. I find that interesting. I don't know whether there's any truth to that. Obviously, we're speculating here. Let me know what you think about De La Hoya's claims. And of course, David Haye and Derek Chisora have split. Another big sort of story this week. Listen, David Haye was a very good manager for Chisora. He earned him a lot of big pay-per-view fights. Well, Joseph Parker's manager has interestingly said that Haye realized that a KO loss was inevitable. It was coming for Chisora, and this is why he jumped ship. There is, of course, a proposed rematch between Parker and Chisora, and Higgins has basically said, I think Haye realizes that Joseph Parker is going to knock Chisora out and put him into retirement, and so maybe he wants to jump the ship before it sinks. If Joseph were to finish Chisora by stoppage, which we think he will, then it's the end of the meaningful boxing matches for Chisora. Now, I don't buy into this narrative from Higgins. I don't think, why would he jump ship? At the end of the day, he's a manager. He's not a trainer where he feels like he's going to look bad. He's taken on Chisora and he's going to train him into being some terrible fighter or anything like that. He's a manager. The Parker rematch would be a pay-per-view, no doubt about it. Chisora is now a pay-per-view fighter in this country. Whether he's winning or losing, he captures the imagination. He's going to be involved in a humdinger of a fight, always entertaining. So listen, it was just it's one of those things whereby I personally believe it might be to do with the fact that either Chisora has decided to end it because he feels as though he didn't get the rub of the green. This is something that Hatman spoke about. In many close fights, he didn't get the rub of the green, and so he feels that perhaps he didn't have the political clout behind him that other promoters might be able to give him. Perhaps it was David Haye that ended it too. Chisora is notoriously difficult to work with. Maybe David's thinking, look, man, I've got a lot of money on my own. While I will never say no to an extra pound note, there's no need for me to have all this stress with Chisora. We've seen David Haye out in the Caribbean, I think he was, holidaying recently, where he had this afro and he was wearing these new age stones and stuff. He looked very zen, did David Haye. Maybe he's sitting there and he's thinking, I've had enough stresses and strains in my life. I don't need a crazy Derek Chisora on my head for his next fight. So who knows? Let me know why you think the relationship ended. Let me know if you agree with Higgins or whether you think it's probably one of the other two reasons. Let me know what you think about Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Try not to let your fan affiliations get to your head here. I've seen a lot of people say, Fury's scared of a rematch, just like he was scared of the Klitschko rematch. I can't see that personally, to be honest with you. I don't think you can beat a guy up that badly and in the first fight win against Klitschko, win a fight that easily and then be intimidated for the rematch. If you weren't intimidated for the first fight and then you win comfortably, what suddenly made you intimidated? All right, think about that. But if that's your opinion, let me know and make a case for it down below. I'm always willing to listen to other people's opinions. Let me know, everyone. Chat to you soon. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notifications button. Help the channel grow. Take care. God bless.